Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this debate about immigration, whether it's good or bad. We will get into the debater's introduction shortly, but first, I'm going to introduce the rules of this debate. There will be an introduction period, which I mentioned earlier, where each debater will introduce himself and what their opinion is on immigration. After that introduction period, I will set a timer for an hour. Once that timer is up, the debate is over. I will only interrupt when there's 30 minutes left on the clock, 10 minutes left on the clock, and if anybody is talking over each other. I would like for this debate to be a civil conversation. If that isn't taking place, I will interrupt. Since this is my first time moderating a debate, please cut me a little slack if I'm not doing that good. With that said, good luck, everybody, and let's start the introductions.
So do you guys want to go first?
No, you got it.
All right. I'm Tatum Lover, or you can call me Cy. That's my actual name. I'm pro-immigration. I'm a neo-libertarian / neoconservative, and that's my position.
Hi, I'm the American Patriot. I'm pro-immigration. I would say I'm a neocon / neoliberal like size.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Okay. My name's Doomer Nationalist, or you can just call me Joseph if you want to. I would classify myself as a theocratic fascist or a clerical fascist, and I take the anti-immigration stance.
I'm McCain, and I guess I would say I'm a paleo-conservative, and I take the anti-immigration stance as well.
And now let's get this debate started.
So do we do our opening statements?
Yeah, do your opening statements.
All right. So I believe immigration is good, and there's a lot of empirical data and studies backing this point. Like the study by Curran MBER showing how immigrants contribute to entrepreneurship and innovation greatly. Immigrants are 15% of the American workforce, but they account for a quarter of American entrepreneurs. According to the study, immigrants are twice as likely to be entrepreneurs, and that number is going up. America has always been a country of immigrants, and the empirical data suggests continuing that will continue and strengthen the great economically, specifically entrepreneurial spirit that we as a country have had, and that has made us successful.
Oh, is it my turn to say my opening statement? Okay, hold on. Let me open up something real quick, and I will start. All right, bet. All right, yeah. So, all right. First of all, I would take the anti-immigration stance. I think that first and foremost, I do not think immigration is a economic issue. If you want to talk about the economics, we certainly can. But I think America is a nation. It is a people with a unique set of culture who share a common identity. I don't think you can just come to America and become an American citizen. I think I think membership within the American nation is inherited through generation of that's kind of what it says in the preamble, for ourselves and our posterity. Posterity would be defined as our descendants. And I don't think America just letting it become a melting pot would be beneficial to America. It's never been a melting pot. This assertion that America is a nation of immigrants is largely false. Actually, if I could bring up a quote here, to quote who I would consider one of the greatest presidents to ever exist, the 26th president, Theodore Roosevelt. His quote says, "The one absolutely certain way of bringing this nation to ruin, of preventing it of all possibility of its continuing to be a nation at all, would be to permit it to become a tangle of squabbling nationalities." I don't think these immigrants are just they're not just members of an economy. They're not just workers. They're also people. To quote the Swiss novelist Max Frisch, we wanted workers, but we got people instead. They aren't just workers. They're people who have needs and wants and come from a previous culture just like us. So I think to look at immigration as just an economic issue would be foolish and might possibly ruin our nation as we know it. And I'm done. That's my opening statement.
Can I do a refutation to that, or does anyone else want to do an opening statement?
McCain, do you want to?
No, you can go ahead with your thing.
You want me to do that?
Yeah, you can do it.
So, doing nationalist point was it's not just an economic issue; it's also a cultural issue. But America is like economics and culture can be linked. Like America, like entrepreneurship is an economic issue, but it's also kind of a cultural issue because America culturally has been a country of entrepreneurs, and immigrants are more likely to be entrepreneurs. As I pointed out. And also, Doomer nationalist pointed out the Constitution, which said all that stuff he basically pointed out. But I'll also point out something for the Constitution. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 3. Clause 4. To establish a uniform rule of naturalization. Naturalization is like making immigrant citizens.
Mhm.
Also, I don't really like Teddy Roosevelt. He's kind of a shit president. So
Yeah. And you have a Reagan profile picture, so that's enough about that. But anyway, to get into entrepreneurship, I would like to, if you don't mind. So, you said immigrants are more likely to be self-employed, right? They're more likely.
entrepreneurs, but like yeah.
So immigrants or immigration is, there's no called immigration. So, which immigrants do you think are the ones becoming entrepreneurs?
I mean,
If
most immigrants, but Hispanic ones also like are more likely to be entrepreneurs.
No.
Indian immigrants are also like more likely to be entrepreneurs. Most immigrants are more likely to be entrepreneurs.
All right. So, I think the study is. Let me look at it for a second.
Is it by cis?
No.
Okay.
It's yours. It's the one that talks about. It's yours. So, if you look at a study by the Migration Policy Institute, and I'll send.
Oh wait. Okay. Let me look. All right.
So
you can go on.
They were only like 1% more likely than natives to be self-employed. And if you look at the people who is creating the jobs, it would be Jewish, it would be the Greeks. Those were the most likely to create the jobs. If you look at hold on. Let me find this real quick. If you look at so there was a half of the Fortune 500 companies were founded by first or second generation immigrants. If you look at the immigrants who founded like the large companies, excuse me. If you look at the immigrants that founded the large company, most of them came from Europe. 0 came from Mexico. 0 came from India, and just the majority of the immigrants that are coming here aren't the ones finding the businesses. Rather, it's the more higher IQ immigrants that are coming here and finding the businesses.
Okay, I'll make a can I respond to that?
Yeah, if you want to.
Okay, so I don't know where you got that 1% more likely, but according to study, I think it's Wien's 2014, immigrants are twice as likely, and
No.
This is also from Brookings. They're also like highly skilled and necessary. Yeah, that's basically what it is. And National Bureau of Economic Research, they say it's 15% of the U.S. workforce, but they account for like a quarter of U.S. entrepreneurs, and they have been dramatically increasing since the mid 90s. And also, you said high skilled immigrants are more likely to be entrepreneurs, and low skilled immigrants are less likely to be entrepreneurs. Low skilled immigrants are also have like some like entrepreneurship. They're also pretty entrepreneurial too.
Okay, so
which immigrants? Like what? Coming from where?
Yeah, exactly.
Mexico, they're also like more likely to be entrepreneurial.
Explain this to you guys.
But also, I'm for more immigration from more high skilled nations too. I'm not like.
Well,
that's what my position is too.
Well, this issue is like about like mostly Mexican immigration.
I'll get to the self-employment part. Ask me where I got the 1% for. I just posted in the debating chat in the Discord server. I don't know. Don't really know where you want me to send sources, but if you look at the people who's finding the businesses, most of them are coming from Israel, Greece, Syria, and Korea. None of them are coming from like the large. Sorry
to interrupt, but you also said Fortune 500 companies. You realize there's like really few Fortune 500 companies. It's a super small sample size. But also, immigration from those areas is still immigration, and I support immigration. So
yeah,
it doesn't invalidate my point.
Point is, but those people make up so few immigrants. The four largest countries that we're taking in immigrants from: Mexico, the Philippines, China, and I think India, none of the immigrants that are coming from those places are finding like large companies. And like I said, the immigrants
Yeah,
that
Fortune 500 companies, which are like very few of, and it's a really like small
Those-
sample
those-
size. So
like
that's
But they're like
that's
still
not
the
to
most
say,
richest and successful and
yeah,
stuff like that.
that's not to say they're not still more entrepreneurial than
no, they're
native born Americans.
not though. Like I just sent the study. The immigrants are more likely.
And I sent 2 studies saying immigrants are more
I
2
mean,
times more
I
entrepreneurial.
can throw empirics at you, but I'm just giving you the data. It's higher IQ.
And I also gave you the data too.
I'm giving all right. Put empirics at each other, but I'm telling you, it's the people that are coming from who we're taking less of, and who are coming from more higher IQ places who are creating the jobs. Not the
Yeah,
low.
I'm for letting more immigrants from high IQ nations.
All right, so
So wait, so do you not support any like immigration from Mexico?
I do.
Okay.
I though, but
But I
they're
also support more immigration
ones
from
that are
those countries you listed.
they're not.
Well,
the,
most immigrants come from like Mexico and like more third world or like more poorer countries
Yeah, and there's
because
still more entrepreneurial
America's
than
more like it's more rich and
native
stuff
born
like that.
Americans. Yeah, but they're still more entrepreneurial than native born Americans.
they're not though. I just
They're
Yes,
not. Yeah,
they are. You showed Fortune 500 companies. I'm talking about businesses in general.
Yeah, exactly. I brought up the Fortune 500 as another example, but if you look at the source in the Discord, the people, the groups that are more likely to be finding companies are from Israel, Greece, and I think Iran. That we're taking so few immigrants from those countries. The countries that we are taking immigrants from are Mexico, the Philippines, India, and China. Those people aren't finding that many.
Also about India. The average immigrant from India makes around 100. I think the average family from India makes around 100K or more than that. That's like more than the average American.
Oh well, if you want to get into like the overall what immigrants put into the economy, it's about so the presence of all immigrant workers, legal and illegal, in the labor market makes the U.S. economy or GDP an estimated 11% larger. So that'd be about 1.6 trillion each year. The I would put this in parentheses like with my little hands. Contribution to an aggregate economy, however, does not measure the net benefit of the native population. Of the 1.6 trillion increase in GDP, 97.8% goes to the immigrants themselves in the form of wages and the remainder.
But they still spend that in the economy. They put that into a bank. Which
No,
goes
most immigrants send it back to their families in their home countries.
I'm not done talking.
Okay, sorry.
The remainder of immigration surplus, the benefit occurring to the actual native-born population, includes workers, owners of the firms, and the other users of the service provided by immigrants. The standard textbook model of a competitive labor market yields the estimate of immigration surplus. That means the benefit that native-born Americans are actually getting from immigrants equals to about $35 billion a year, or about 0.2% of the total GDP in the United States. So, like, if you're talking about like how much money immigrants are putting into the economy that benefits native-born Americans, it's almost like a non sequitur. Like, it's literally close to nothing.
Okay, but if you make money, right, you put it into a bank or you spend it, that still goes to the economy. That still benefits.
It doesn't.
He explained how it like works in like an economic sense. It's not really like a.
Just explain.
I mean, it's common sense. If you spend money,
No, well, that's not an argument. You can't say, oh, it's common sense, but he just explained why that doesn't actually occur when it comes to like actual immigration in America.
Immigrants do. I just explained to you what the money they do to the economy goes. 97.8% of the money they put into the economy goes back to themselves, meaning that the actual money, or what we call immigration surplus, that native-born Americans get from the money that immigrants put into the economy is about 0.2% of the total GDP.
Yeah. So where did you get that from?
George Borjas.
Who?
George Borjas.
George Borjas, the leading immigration economist
at Harvard University.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, so yeah. Also, I can present you like, yeah. All right. So here we go. I wanna present to you an argument for real quick. All right. So this would be coming. Are y'all into economic schools at all? At all? Like the Austrian and whatnot. So I'm gonna be arguing something from like an Austrian perspective. So like
I'm not Austrian, but okay.
All right. So like premise one, we would say that money equilibrium is good, as we don't
Oh,
recession.
can I also get something about George Borjas? He's not really like a credible person. I can send some articles.
He
He's
definitely
not really seen as a credible person.
Listen, you're not an economist, my guy.
There's a lot of economists. There's Richard Wolff. He's not like other economists don't see him as credible.
But he is
I'm talking about other economists.
Yeah, but he's literally the number one immigration
can't
economist at Harvard.
Immigration economist.
And he's an immigrant himself, so he knows like the insides of this too.
I don't care if he's an immigrant. There's a lot of immigrants.
Well, I was just saying that
doesn't
he knows
matter.
the insides of. Okay.
But this is easy, right? This is common sense. Immigrants
How is it-
immigrants redistribute to people who compete with immigrants. Immigrants are the one competing with immigrants. This is like fucking no-brainer shit. But like, let me get back to what I was saying, right? I'm gonna present you an argument. So with premise one, we can agree that money equilibrium is good, as we don't want recessions, right? Premise two would be an influx in demand for money bad, as banks can't keep up with the demand for money without expanding credit. Premise three would be credit expansions causes business cycles. Either banks.
I'm not Austrian, so I don't believe.
No, well, this is just
this
saying that immigrants can cause these recessions and.
Listen to me. So then, correlation one: either banks can't keep up with the demand for money, or they expand credit. We arrive this from premise two and premise three. Premise four: both monetary disequilibrium and credit expansion causes recessions. So correlation two: thus a large influx in demand for money, ceteris paribus, causes recessions. We get this from correlation one and premise four. So correlation three: there is a large demand for money is bad. Premise five: you want more immigration. So premise six would be mass immigration causes a large influx in the demand for money. And so correlation four, the final, is therefore immigration is bad. We arrived this from correlation three, premise five, and premise six, since it would eventually lead to a recession.
Okay, so I'm not really for a rise. I'm just for the current amount of immigrants and any population. Are you saying that any rise in demand, like population growth, for example, is going to cause that, right?
Huh?
Well, yeah, because if you bring in more people, there's going to be more demand.
So
and,
you guys want increased birth rates, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's still going to cause that because that's an increase.
Well, no, well, this can get into the culture argument too, I guess, because like that's more natural with the native population and stuff like that.
Immigrants are also more entrepreneurial.
Well, if you want to,
so it's a better
if you want to
economic
talk
boost.
birth rates, I'll explain to you the birth rates. Real simple. If a generation dies, we want a generation to replace it so we can keep the population at steady. What you said is absolute non sequitur and like has to do.
Hold, I don't mean to interrupt, but American Patriot, are you gonna speak up?
Yeah, and also American.
Yeah, I was like,
that's the original guy.
No, I'm just sitting back. I'll jump in when I need to.
I don't know, man, because it was supposed to be me and you 1v1. Someone wanted to make it a 2v2. You were the one that said you wanted to increase the amount of immigration. Also, if you want to get into the cultural argument, we can, but there's still a little bit more economic arguments I can make if you want to go into that.
Culture is a pretty subjective thing, so I don't really care about that much.
No.
what?
Yeah, it is.
What do
It's a
you mean it's
subjective thing.
subjective?
All right.
Culture, like
Subjective to
cultural values is
Americans?
subjective.
Is it subjective to Americans?
No,
like
cultural
native-born
values,
ones?
like your cultural values is subjective to you, so I don't really.
What the fuck are you?
What?
No, we can do, bro. There's some objective
Please
things.
stay.
No, like there's some things we can consider like objective or history too. Objective American values.
Because some cultural values are so like small and stuff like that that you don't even notice that it's a part of a culture that you do naturally and stuff like that.
Rejecting that America is like you rejecting that America is some melting as you rejecting that America as a unified people is a very un-American view. Like it's very like America has very like homogenous up until its beginning, up until like 1965.
No, I mean it had more immigration in the early 1900s and 1800s. So I mean that's kind of wrong.
Yeah, but
It
those
had more immigration back then than today.
Wait, when did I? Yeah, I said they were homogenous. Guess what?
It wasn't really homogenous.
Guess
but
what? Okay, guess what countries they were coming from?
from Eastern Europe, from
They were coming. So
Asia,
the majority
from
of
Ireland.
here in the 19th century were German, Italian, and Irish. There's a big fat difference, my guy, from Northern Europeans assimilating into another like.
They were mainly Eastern Europeans.
Wait, in what year?
That's fine.
Because most
Like,
Eastern
late
European people
1800s.
came here in the 1900s.
You think there's a bigger difference between different European people from like European people and like Hispanic? difference or a smaller difference?
Hispanics in like Mexico and areas like close to the U.S. are more similar than Europeans like Eastern Europe and Southern Europe.
No, that's not true at all.
True. Yeah,
All
it is.
Really?
Culturally wise.
Culture, but we can get into culture if you want to in a second. So we can actually get on the culture. But here, I do want to make.
Wait, hold on. We could talk about how immigrants lower wages too, if you
Yeah, I
want to
wanted
get into that.
Okay.
To get into wages, we can. And I was gonna get into. Excuse me. I was gonna get into house prices if we can. Yeah. So usually, let me find this real quick. So I have so many empirical evidence. You told me that in one of your TikTok comic sessions you would demolish us with empirical evidence. So I've been gathering up studies and whatnot. All right, bet here we go for rent. An immigration inflow equals to 1% of the city's population, which is associated with an increase in average rent and housing prices of about 1%. The result is an economic impact that is order of magnitude bigger than that's found in labor markets.
Can I talk about the first one though, so that we don't go so I don't forget?
Yeah,
the first one is about population growth. Any population growth is going to increase housing prices.
Yes, but it's going to go naturally as the population grows and stuff like that. It's a more natural thing rather than artificially importing people into a community and then raising housing prices up like
you just said was not a
in an instant.
That's not okay. That's not how immigration works. But okay.
No,
that's exactly. What do you mean?
Increase the population of a community, like you just said, the housing prices will inherently go up. Therefore, shipping in immigrants to a population will increase the rent. Like you just conceded what I just said.
But it's more artificial and it's probably going to have a way bigger burden on it than a natural increasing population.
Oh, here's another one. This study shows that the increase in the number of foreign-born share a 1% point increase at the cost of housing rent by 1.103% points, and the increase in cost of housing prices by about 2% percentage points. We can imply that immigration counts for a significant value of the market in the United States. Here, I'll send that source right here too if you want me to.
Yeah. So the first one's from Cato, right?
I don't think so.
Because that's where I saw it from. The 1% increase, that's from Cato.
I don't think we got it from Cato.
And in the sources, I don't like Cato that much. I think they are.
Yeah.
Shills, I think they are funded. They're pumped by big business to try to advocate things that you want, so they can spend. They can lower people's wages. What immigrants do, they do lower wages. I don't know what. I mean, you try to say something.
There's tons of studies that show that's.
Well, I mean, you can pull all the studies you want.
By Stefano Longley, 09. A meta-analysis of 7 studies found there's no significant effect caused by immigration on native employment and native wages.
Okay, well then substantiate it though, because you can say that, but
it's a meta-analysis of 7 studies.
Yeah, we can pull out studies too, but
I can explain.
What do you mean substantiate it?
Explain to you how. Hold on, wait. If I close this out, can y'all still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. All
right, but I can explain. I got it in my notes real quick. No, this is just the Chad stuff. You got shit in your notes, and you got to just talk about it on black. Hold on, let me get to it.
But how is wait? I just want to ask, how is increasing a labor pool gonna make wages not go down? Because it's basically supply and demand. It's basically supply and demand.
The empirical study shows that maybe it's.
Well, I'm asking you in a logical sense.
It also increases consumer demand. It also would increase consumer demand too, but
that's going to raise prices too.
The empirical evidence shows it doesn't have.
Well, you can't just keep saying, "Oh, the empirical evidence."
The empirical evidence matters more.
All right, mate, you're gonna have to. Empiricism is legitimate if you want.
Yeah, you can't just say, "Oh, my empirical you're like, "Oh, my studies agree with me." I don't care. My studies agree with me too. But just tell me. I'm just asking you a simple question. How is increasing the overall labor pool and increasing the supply of labor gonna not have a significant effect on wages?
It's also going to increase the demand for labor too, because you're going to have more consumer demand, so you're going to have more demand for labor,
which is going to have even higher prices though. It's It's this artificial. It's not really. But even then, I'm not talking about demand. I'm talking about wages.
And the studies show that wages don't decrease.
Okay, so you're doing the same thing over and over again.
Do you want in
studies?
I'm asking you a simple question that you're not answering. You just keep shifting to consumer demand.
One source would be the National Bank of England. Hold on, I got to read this stuff and then.
But answer my question though.
I mean, it's empirical studies. I don't really care about your
All right,
question.
fuck it.
You have to just read empirical studies.
Oh my
This
god.
source from MBER, and they also say the same thing.
Wait, NBR?
Yeah, they say I'll read it. Research shows average American wages rises due to immigration, both short-term and long-term. The only native demographic whose wages drop are high school dropouts who suffer a decrease in wages. Can I read my part? Who suffer a decrease in wages by approximately 2% short-term, alleviating to 1.1% long-term. Study finds new immigration does severely impact wages of prior immigrants, suggesting lack of substitution. I can't read that with natives. Overall, vast majority of American workers' wages increase with immigration. High school dropouts, less than 10% of the population, experience a slight decrease, which alleviates time. And there's evidence that immigration might increase native high school immigrant graduation rates too.
I thought you just said you cited one study that said there's no effect on weight. Then you cited
it says there's barely any effect, and
all right.
This says less than 10%.
I just put 4 or 5 studies in chat that said that immigration lowers wages, and also you can look.
What chat is it in? Because okay.
The debate. It's the debate chat, and also you can look at George Borjas' study on the Cubans.
George Borjas is not really reputable, my guy. I told you this already. He isn't reputable.
All right,
we don't care that.
Yeah. You have a degree in economy.
You can have bro. Richard Wolff has a degree in economics. He's not reputable. Many economists have said he's.
Well, because he's a communist or he's a Marxist. He's whatever.
And this guy's.
That's not really.
It doesn't matter whether he's a Marxist
or
not.
All right, then debunk. Refute.
Yeah, then debunk yeah, exactly.
Yeah, refute his claim. Refute that his claim or his studies.
There's economists who have, so I don't want to read over all of it.
Wrong. Actually, you know what? You're right. There is one study that says that refutes his study about his study in Cuba, not on Cuba, but the impact of the Maricos when they went into Florida. So I'll just like his refutation to the other refutation to So here's a refutation of one of George Borjas's. Like someone refuted the studies, and here's just his refutation back that could pretty much debunk it. Yeah, you're right. Economists have tried to debunk it, and then he refuted back. So yeah, I mean it's not that.
You can say he refuted it back. That doesn't mean he refuted it.
Well, that's literally what you're doing. You're saying, oh, the empirical evidence says otherwise. That says I'm right. Well, I mean, just because the empirical evidence that you pulled up is right, like that doesn't make sense.
I could I'mRight.com too, my guy, and hold on. Actually, let me look up something real quick. Don't say nothing. So if you Google Borjas's name, it hold on. George Borjas. He is the American economist. Yeah, George Borjas is an American economist, professor of the Harvard Kennedy School. He has been described as America's leading immigration economist and leading skeptic of immigration among economists. Borjas has published a number of studies that conclude that low-skilled immigration adversely affects the low-skilled natives. So, he is the leading immigration. He is the American leading immigration economist. Very reputable guy. I can send you.
Are you reading that from Wikipedia? But he's okay.
He's a very You can say he's not reputable, but I would say the studies you're bringing up are unreputable too. Just because
the thing that said that was
we could. I mean, if you don't want to.
The thing that said that he's the leading immigration economist was Bloomberg, and Bloomberg also in the article they said immigrants don't steal from American paycheck, but Bloomberg also supports immigration a lot. So
yeah, because it's Bloomberg, bro.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're supporting Bloomberg to try to say that he's the most reputable economist, even though in that paper what he said was untrue.
I think that adds weight to his rep.
How this the article you quoted refutes him. It's literally refuting him, and also I don't really like Bloomberg either. So
all right, well you can not like whoever you don't want to. I think you're
just dodging at this point.
I'm quoting studies from MBR. I'm quoting meta-analysis. You're just quoting.
Okay, like that.
What do you?
Well, I mean, you're literally. I mean, we're pulling studies too. Like, what's wrong with getting studies?
Everything you said, my guy, I refuted. Your whole they're more entrepreneurs.
And then you just say, "Oh, my study says that I'm right." Like
your whole immigrants put into the economy, I refuted. started making claims that
You said they increased housing prices. Even Cato said Cato saw that as a good thing, like
I didn't-
increasing housing.
We didn't quote Cato.
Value.
Yeah, of course.
But that study.
Yeah, of course
that
Cato
was-
says it.
That was from Cato.
Of course Cato.
I saw that study, but okay,
That's gonna be.
It wasn't from Cato. We did not pull it from Cato.
but whatever.
I didn't even.
You know more. There's been multiple studies. Not just Cato has done studies on that, right?
All right. Can we get into like cultural, like?
We could also talk about crime if you want. We could literally talk about anything.
Also, hold on. Let me get into social cohesion real quick. So, do you know about the importance of why social cohesion is important?
I mean, okay, fine.
All right, bet. Let's talk about social. All right. So yeah. Also, we can. Here's a real quick of displacement of jobs, so we can end on this economic argument. They do displace some jobs from 1980 to 2000. The black employment rate increased 2.4% at the hands of immigration. In the 1970s, black.
Can you prove that's the correlation? Can you prove that's like black unemployment rate increased?
Yeah, because they took the black people's jobs.
Can you?
Here's a study done by the Federal Reserve that showed that.
Can you put it in the private chat, please? Because I'm not seeing any studies in the private chat. I'll take a screenshot and I'll show you. Maybe it's just my phone. I don't know.
No, he isn't sending them a private chat. I told him to, but he wanted to send them in the Discord.
So I'm sending studies on my computer. I'm in like the live stream. I'm in the live stream on my phone. I'm on the computer on Discord, so I'm just sending the what's
just send them in the private chat.
Can you just send them into private chat? Cause
can I do that shit bait? Like you can see the source of them. I mean, I can't really do it because what's it called? I'm on my phone on mobile, like looking at all these studies on the computer. Also, can we get into cultural now? Like this economic shit's boring. Like just repeating.
Okay. Okay, fine.
All right, base. So yeah, immigrants don't assimilate to our culture. If you keep replacing the people who found, if you keep replacing,
you're not replacing the people who founded it.
Yeah, you are. If you're importing Mexican immigrants,
decreasing below replaceable level, and that we can't force them to have more babies. We can.
We can tax credits, bro. That's what they did in like Hungary, and it worked.
That's because of
my guy.
That's because people don't want to have babies in America. Like,
yeah,
they didn't want to in Hungary either, but they gave them incentives to do it, and they did it.
Why they're not having babies, and this is a recent trend across all countries besides
Hungary's birth rate is also not really good. Like 2018, this is 2018 from World Bank. The birth rate was 1.55 births per woman in 2018.
Yeah, no one said the Hungary birth rate was good.
That was below.
But it's increasing. It's going to increase more over time.
It's increased from 1.23 to 1.54, but it was at It was at 1.87 in 1991. It was decreasing, and I think that's because of the Great Recession.
Rate was increasing, so they started passing pronatalist policies.
And it's been like stagnating for the last few years. It was 1.53 in 2016 and is 1.55 in 2018. So
they started it a few years. And I don't talking about pronatalist policies that proved to work to increase the birth rate. But why are you talking about the birth rate right now, guy? That's a whole
birth rate.
That's a whole.
We're talking about culture. We're not really talking about birth rate.
Because you said that they're replacing the people, but the people in the country aren't having enough babies to, like.
Exactly. That's why. Yeah. That's when it's time for the state to step in and start passing pronatalist policies to raise the native population.
What do you mean by pronatalist policies, though?
Do you not know what pronatalist means?
No, I know, but what do you mean by that? Do you mean like forcing?
Like incentivizing people to have babies.
Okay. Well, I don't mean forcing people. You libertarians are obsessed when I talk about like the government.
But you're fascist. So
incentivizing people.
Yes, problem. I mean, what I mean by government, I mean like tax breaks, maybe give out free loans to like newlywed couples to have more babies. What else?
How's that worked out in Hungary?
It works pretty well in Germany.
And
pretty well in Hungary. There was a correlation of their birth rate.
Germany has 1.57.
Oh, I'm not talking.
They had 1.6. I'm not 60 births in 2016. You said it worked well. They're still below redeemable level.
You think I'm talking about current Germany? I was talking about Germany under Mustache Man. They were passing.
That's true.
Passing all types of pronatalist policies, and it was proven to work because their birth rate went up.
Their
Like-
birth rate probably went up because like before they had huge inflation, huge economic problems.
They had
It's
full
recovered because
employment. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yo, we're
that's-
talking about
you're saying-
we're talking
you're
about
saying that
pronatalist
increase 'cause-
policies that increase the birth rates.
Yeah,
We're not
exactly.
You're
talking
saying that
about
increased the birth rates, but
economy
the
and
birth rates
shit.
were only down because of the economy
Huge
was bad.
inflation-
People were having bad
huge-
lives.
Huge inflation happened under the Weimar Republic, and the atrocities that the Nazi government did. I didn't mention that. All I said is that they passed.
I'm not saying the Nazi government was. I'm not arguing any of that. I'm saying the reason the birth rate probably went up is because before they had huge economic problems, and then the economic problems, the economy was better.
What huge economic problem?
Huge inflation under the Weimar Republic.
Yeah, exactly. Under the Weimar Republic.
Yeah, I'm not arguing anything about
Under
the Nazis. I'm just saying the fact is that's probably why the birth rate went up.
Under the Nazi economy, I think Hitler fully stabilized the Reich mark, and I think they achieved full employment in about 4 years. No, but like for example,
Because Germany was a wartime economy, but we're not really arguing about.
No, it was
Nazi
even like
economics and
before
Nazi
they
economics.
went World War
Yeah,
II.
they were a wartime economy.
about
It
this.
doesn't matter.
I said
North
before
Korea is a wartime economy.
No, all right, no, it wasn't. But we don't have to get into that. What I'm talking about is that so what was happening had like was a policy. What happened was they would give loans to the mother to newly wed couples. What happened was if they had a kid, they wouldn't have to pay back the loan, and the more kids they had, the less they had to pay back on the loan, and eventually they have to pay back the loan at all. So like that's kind of, and it proved to work. Their birth rates went increasing.
Yeah, I can't find any data on their birth rates, but like I said, it's probably because they had less economic problems. They had a
because
good economy.
policies that were pretty much like, oh yeah, I want more money, so yeah, let's have some kids. So, I mean, that's simple.
But I mean, can you like, do you have any data for the birth rate? Because I can't find any.
Oh my
In,
gosh.
like the 1930s.
Sure, buddy. I mean, it's common.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm looking at the data right now.
It's common.
In 1940 was 2.24, and in 1935 it went down from 1930,
What are you talking?
and that's still below. This is
The
from
not-
Statista.
34. I don't think they passed the woman at whatever it was called until like 36.
Okay.
Yeah, plus these like if you implement these like incentives, they're not gonna happen right away. It's not like once you pass it, they're gonna have like 3 kids the next day.
Nazis is that they knew their population was increasing, so they needed more living space. Wasn't that kind of the whole point? Like that was the whole point of like invading all those, because they needed more living space because their population was. Anyway, so
Yeah. Okay. Whatever.
this was a complete pivot though, because I was not talking about birth rates. When I said the foreign population was replacing the native, of course it is. Like look me in 1965, I think America was like 85% white and like 15% blacks, and that was 1965 when the Hart-Celler Act was passed. After the Hart-Celler Act, and we've looked what's happening, demographic change because of immigration. America will be minority white in 2050, and so yeah, of course they're coming here and replacing the.
Yeah. So I wanted to get into that. So, okay, your whole argument is very cultural based, right? So
yeah.
it's a known fact that Hispanics are more socially conservative than whites. So you should want them to replace whites.
That's not true at all.
Yeah.
Look at their voting patterns. They don't vote for conservatives.
I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's because of a lot of reasons. But
Here we go. If you want to talk about this, they're more socially conservative. A supermajority support for Democratic candidates and a pattern amongst Hispanic voters. In the December poll of 2011, 67% of Hispanics said they were Democrat, 20% said they were Republican. And in 2018 House of Representatives election, 69% of Hispanics voted Democrat, while 29% voted Republican, and 66% of Hispanics.
I'm not talking about voting patterns. I'm talking like personal.
Well, no,
values,
because
like
you're saying they're more
socially
conservative. They would, if they were
I didn't say
conservative, they would vote for.
conservative. I said they
Yeah,
were
yes,
socially-
you did.
I mean,
That's
a
literally
fact
what
that they're more
like my guy,
socially
yeah,
conservative
like every
than
other,
white Americans.
yeah, they're like every other race besides white people. They want what's best for themselves, and then they're like, fuck everything else. They vote.
No, because Republicans don't do enough outreach. Republicans spend more on.
Oh, yeah.
Republicans.
That's-
Let me
yeah.
talk. Please let me.
Wait,
talk.
let him go. Let him go. Let him
Republicans-
finish. Hey,
Republicans just like election season. They spend more on blacks, despite blacks not re-electing them than Hispanics. Even you watch Red Eagle Politics, right?
Who?
Do you watch Red Eagle Politics?
Fuck, man.
Oh yeah, even he pointed this out. Like they spent way too much money on blacks that they should have spent on Hispanics.
They should just focus on.
We shouldn't appeal to immigrants. We should appeal to natives, and black people are, I would consider, natives.
And white college voters are like majority Democrat though. They used to vote majority Republican.
Yeah, what
before with Bush.
Yeah, exactly. This isn't like a whole I don't know what you make this out to be. All I'm saying is that immigrants, if you look at their voting patterns, aren't assimilating. If you look at what they believe in, they're not assimilating. You bring it up, they're more culturally conservative. Yeah, amongst themselves, like what? Yeah, and like they're against abortion. Everyone knows that the Republican Party is against abortion. Yet
Actually, that's true. Let me bring up some polls.
Yeah, I got some polls. 82% of Hispanic immigrants vote for more gun control. 62% of Hispanic people affect others compared to.
Okay, yeah. Let me. This is from a May Gallup poll, and let me see the date.
What's it?
Yeah, it's 2009, but I'll try to find a poll from recently.
No, what's it about?
It's about
No, I agree.
Immigration. I mean, not. I'm sorry. It's about abortion or gun control.
Yeah. Oh, here I got you right here. It's from Pew Research. Here's one. Just look in the Discord server, the left to right Discord server in bed. And same for what's it called? What else? Oh yeah. Here's some from like freedom of speech. Yeah.
Can you just put it in the private chat? Because it does this weird thing like with muting whenever I go in the switch pages.
Let me see. I'll put a whole bunch of sources in the debate in the Discord server. That's where all my. Yeah. Here's that, I guess.
I would just like to point out that there's 20 minutes left on the clock.
All right,
Okay.
yeah, this works great. So I can get that actually matters. So yeah, like we're both for the most part right wing. Like I think it's very weird to vote more Democrats and all. So therefore, I don't know why you would want to bring more people who I don't know why you would want to bring in more people who vote against Green.
Because I want Republicans to do better outreach to Hispanics. They didn't. Pretty shit on it.
So you want them to appeal to immigrants more than natives?
I think that should appeal to everyone. Like they should appeal based on like issues that.
Immigrants, if
like
they're
abortion.
immigrating here, then they weren't originally American. So you're not appealing to native people.
Let me actually tell you something. So when George Bush, I forgot which year, but George Bush was in office, he let in like 7 million. And while I guess the percentage went up, Hispanic.
Bush was actually pretty like socially conservative. I think he did like I think it was Freedom of Marriage Act in 2004. Or
I bring up Bush being socially conservative.
He's one of the most. He ran on a pretty evangelical campaign, so he was pretty socially conservative.
In 1 year, Bush let in like 7 million immigrants, and while I guess them voting Republican a little bit, Republicans still got the minority. And since Trump, since how liberal more minorities are getting due to things like Black Lives Matter.
Actually, like Hispanics oppose Black Lives Matter like overwhelmingly, like, almost as much as whites.
Ooh, no, they don't.
I think whites support. I don't know, but yeah, they don't really. It's like 48% of Hispanics don't like Black Lives Matter.
Trump was known as like the anti-immigration guy, and Republican Party is like seen as more socially. I won't say more socially conservative, but more anti-immigration than they.
It was more anti-illegal immigration. Trump didn't really do much about immigration.
Well, he cut it. I think he cut it like 50%. He cut it by like 50%.
Yeah, exactly. He cut it in half. He cut it the immigration by 50%. But also, like even then, his rhetoric was still kind of anti-immigration. So I now think immigrants are going to see the Republican Party even more. And also, you're proving my point that they don't assimilate. Why the fuck are they seeing themselves as immigrants? They should be seeing themselves as Americans.
I'm not saying they're seeing themselves as immigrants. I think
of course they do.
Well, they are. They do see themselves as immigrants.
If they see themselves as immigrants, then they wouldn't care if these people are talking about anti-immigration. Like that's common sense. If you see yourself as an immigrant, then of course you would be against anti-immigration legislation. If you didn't see yourself as an immigrant, then you wouldn't care about anti-immigration policies. They see themselves as immigrants. They don't even see themselves as Americans. Or they
That's
wouldn't.
kind of a false dichotomy. You can see yourself as both.
Why
That's
would
kind of a false
But they don't
dichotomy.
see themselves as Americans. You know what I mean? It's not
Yeah.
they're like, oh, I'm an immigrant and I'm an American. It's
How's
mostly
that bad
I am
to
an
say?
immigrant.
I mean,
well this
how's that bad to say I'm both American and I'm an immigrant?
they're seeing
That's not
themselves
bad.
as immigrants, and therefore they're voting against anti-immigration policies because
Didn't you just say they vote? Okay, whatever, fine.
they're voting for Democrats, and that's why Democrats want them here. That's why Republicans should oppose them coming here, is because immigrants vote against them. So it's against the Republicans' best interest. What? No, man. All right, sorry, my grandmother came. But no, it's against the Republicans' best interest to let them in here because they're voting against Republicans. Therefore, Republicans should oppose them like Trump did. It's that simple. It's no-brainer. And also, if you look at the things that immigrants believe in, they believe in more gun control. They believe in
Freedom of speech, like regulation. They believe in like hate speech laws.
Yeah, they believe in hate speech laws, and they just don't believe in the stuff that we have considered like historical American values. And like you just proved my point, they're against immigration policies. That's because they don't see themselves as fully American. They see themselves as still a part of.
Wait, aren't you're a fascist, right?
Of course.
So do you like Mussolini? I'm not like trying to like. I'm not gonna like slander him or anything. I'm just asking. Did he do gun control?
I don't know. I have no.
So I mean, why are you opposed to immigrants supporting gun control if you're a fascist and you're saying?
That's I mean, just because where he derives,
Ronald Reagan wasn't Ronald Reagan like really racist? Did you say that about Africans?
That was kind of a joke.
I mean, Ronald Reagan wasn't really racist. He
really
condemned
agree with
racism and
he was
speech.
But no, I don't know about Mussolini doing gun control. I know the Nazis let people get guns, like shotguns, while it was like gun. So like in the Weimar Republic, you couldn't own a gun. In Nazi Germany, they made shotguns and rifles legal. So I know for the most part, fascists have been fine, and I'm fine with guns. I don't want for the most part. I love guns. And when it comes to Mussolini, yeah, I do like Mussolini. People who are also very favorable of Mussolini would be people like Winston Churchill and FDR.
I don't.
Well,
I don't like
FDR.
FDR.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is that even though we're looking pretty fond at Mussolini, and so were the neocons in England. Like Churchill said in 11/7 that
I mean, I don't really like Churchill either. I'm Indian.
Well, I don't know. Oh, I know you're Indian, right? Oh, then you should like Hitler because he believed in Indian independence.
I mean, I don't like. I mean,
Country gave us Indian. I'm not.
I'm still religious. I don't think people should be like genociding other.
Oh, I don't
So yeah.
Either, but you believe in like cultural replacement, and that's kind of close to genocide. So here's one of my last points. What is it? Oh yeah, social cohesion. So I would say that stability is one of the best indicators of a well-functioning political order. While of course we can agree that economic growth doubtlessly enhances the nation's stability, I would say that the nation's stability still depends more on a sense that we all belong together. Hence the importance of assimilation. To introduce all newcomers without inspection of cultural integration to sacrifice trust on wealth, which social harmony depends on. And I would have empirical data to prove this. You said you wanted sources to put in like the chat, the private chat. So I'll just go find this real quick. Hold on. I'll scroll up a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm going to bring one major point about one final point about the social cohesion thing. So this is like a meta-analysis, like 90 studies. So I'll read it. Enormous meta-analysis with 90 cross-sectional studies analyzing relationship between diversity and social cohesion. Vast majority of studies on the subject fail to prove the relationship between two variables. In fact, study finds positive relationship between inter-ethnic contact and trust in ethnically heterogeneous communities. Only contrary data shows small-scale inter-neighborhoods trust suffers with ethnic heterogeneity in some circumstances, but even then, only in America. Plurality of data does not support, and even later largely contradicts assertion that diversity hurts social cohesion.
All right. So in a sweeping analysis, Danish professor Peter Dessen, and a bunch of other examined 1,001 estimates from 87 relevant academic studies conducted in a range of countries, including the United States, the United Kingdom, Germany, and Denmark.
Who was that again? Who was that again? Who wrote the study?
I'll put it in private chat. They found that ethnic diversity has a statistically negative relationship on social trust.
No, but who's the guy who made the study?
I put it. I don't know.
His name.
They're Danish. Like I really can't pronounce that words that much. I'm not the best when it comes to words. And to quote the study, it said the author find a striking systematic pattern of a strong negative connection.
Yeah. So it says something has gone wrong. The page you were trying to reach cannot be found.
Okay.
Yes, that's.
I'll just find the other source. Then I have a bunch of sources. That's like pretty popular. Hold on. I'll find something. Hold on. I'll find where I got it. 2 seconds. Also, I'll send another study, and it's not just a study, but it's like 100+ studies that pretty much indicate that that social cohesion is negatively effective. Hold on.
Is that in the private chat?
Oh yeah, I'll put it in there. Hold on, give me a second.
I would like to point out that there's 10 minutes left on the clock.
All right, hold on. Give me a second. Big dog. Shiesty, that's my dog. I'm really shiesty. Y'all listen to rap music?
I mean, I used to, but I don't really listen to music anymore.
Oh, okay. I don't know what server is this. All right, here we go. I got this study where I got it from. And here we go. Bam, there's that. And then
that's from Sis.
Yeah.
Okay,
What's wrong with cis?
Yeah.
I mean,
You're gonna go, oh, it's founded by what now?
Well, it is.
Oh my gosh! Oh my god!
That's a very communist.
You realize it's like people upload studies to them. They make like their own PDF and stuff to them, and then they upload it to there.
You said you had some stuff on Sis.
I just sent you a file. I sent it in a private chat again. A file that has over 100 studies that talk about diversity and the lack of social cohesion. Included in that study is a study done by Harvard professor Robert Putnam. It was a study done in 2007, which was conducted with a sample size of 30,000 Americans. His finding is that greater ethnic diversity within a population, the less people trusted their neighbors, their local leaders, and even the news. They gave less charity, were unhappier, voted less friends, according to Putnam. So yeah, it's like, yeah. I mean, like, there's a few studies that say otherwise, but there's a sweeping analysis that covers 87 studies that said that.
Which one was that? The CIS one, or was that the one that couldn't?
Yeah, that was the CIS one, and then I just put a file that has like over 100 studies that pretty much conclude that diversity has a negative impact on communities, and social trust and other things. And there was a study done by a Harvard professor named Rodman Putnam. His study in 2000.
Rodman Putnam or Robert Putnam?
Robert Putnam.
Okay.
And then his study was called like E Pluribus Unum, and he found that social lack in diverse neighborhoods. So yeah, they don't. So yeah, this over here proves my point. They have a severe lack of social cohesion. We already discussed the economics earlier, which like can we finish a little bit earlier? Like, do you have anything else to say?
No, not really.
All right, bet. So McCain, do you have anything to say?
No.
American Patriot, do you have anything to say?
No, I'm good.
All right, I guess we can get into some closing remarks if you want to. Do you have any closing remarks or anything?
Not really.
All right, I'll say my closing remarks. So yeah, I think I've concluded my point that immigration is overall a negative. My opponent failed to substantiate claims that it's better for the economy. He failed to substantiate his claims that immigration was good culturally, and he also never proved that the state has some type of moral obligation to bring in these people. So
you never asked that question, but
I mean that's the whole point. While we're arguing if it's good or if it's bad.
You said there's this okay, all right, whatever.
And so yeah, I think this debate went in my favor and me and McCain's favor. That would be my closing remark.
All right.
Straight up high, and this is high energy. I have an interview with a Politically Provoked at like 5.
Who is that?
It's like
Good talk. I gotta leave now. See ya.
All right.
All right.
See you.
See ya.
Hey, yo, that was a nice debate. Nice job, everybody.
Yeah, another fact.
W, bro.
I honestly
W.
don't know why Patriot didn't talk, but you
Yeah, I
know,
know. It was
that-
literally a 2v1. I felt kind of bad. I was like,
yeah,
dude.
bro.
I thought it was more of a 1v1. I was just going at that Hindu guy the whole time.
Well, yeah, that is true. I mean, I don't know. He really was just trying to throw studies at us
There's
without like
still
substantial.
7 minutes on the clock.
All right, bet
Right.
me and McCain can have some stuff.
Wait, is there anyone in chat?
Follow me on TikTok at Doomer Nationalist.
Who do y'all think won in the comments? Who won?
I don't think that was debatable. Who won?
Yeah, I know. It was
I
really
just
like
want
a.
to see. I just want to see. You know who thinks that they won.
Follow me on TikTok, McCain V2.
I'll follow you right now.
Mr.
I bet.
I actually don't.
Mr. Left or Right. Who do you think won?
Honestly, you guys definitely won.
Yeah. So
It was-
Of course, bro.
It wasn't even that close.
Basically, Seth kind of talked the whole time, but
I did, man. I did because I knew the only thing that McCain was ready to talk about.
was fucking labor shortages,
Yeah.
bro. I was hoping they would bring that up.
Yeah, I did too. I was going to be like, "Here, McCain, you have your chance. Here you go."
Yeah.
No, but his claims were so unwarranted. Like he was like, "They're more socially conservative." I was like, "Yeah, for their own fucking kind."
And he was like, "Oh, well, my studies say that they don't lower wages." And I'm like, "Okay, substantiate them. Like, explain it." And then he's like, "Oh, I don't have to because my studies say I'm right." And I'm like, "What?" And he wouldn't answer my question either. Like, he wouldn't.
Responded to the whole immigrants cause a recession. He never responded to the rent and prices. Always says that my study says that you're wrong. Dude, I have a list of like 90 studies that talk about the wages of economics. I only cited like 5 that talked about wages, and it's basic common sense.
Yeah, no.
Market, there's no incentive to raise wages, therefore they won't do it. They can just fire. They didn't talk about the labor shortage. I wanted Mr. McCain to fuck them.
I know. That would have been so funny.
Hold on, let me.
Y'all did pretty good. Y'all did pretty good.
Thank you, good sir.
It's kind of unfair though with a 2v1 though.
Yeah, I was like kind of like, bro, is this guy
I
gonna
think he
talk or something?
spoke when you only mentioned Ronald Reagan.
Right, yeah, when we said Reagan was racist, he was like, "No, he isn't."
Yeah,
No.
dude, that noodle guy said that he was like, "Romeo, the only time the Patriots." Oh, it was someone mentioned Reagan being racist.
I was so confused. I
I was like, "Is this guy gonna like talk?" Or
And I didn't even want to interrupt the debate because you guys were just going, but I'm like, dude, is this man gonna talk? Like, actually. Oh, jeez. I don't know why.
This guy said, "Can't believe they still use Borjas studies."
Yeah, I know that was so stupid. I was like, "Oh, Borjas has been refuted," and I'm like, "Shut up."
Refuting like claims about refuting his claims about what's it called? Refuting his claims. This one person asked, "Why should I care about culture?" Well, they're like Irandian. I hope they know that like if you increase like
I'll be right back.
you look at more who's like more individualist and who's more collective, it's by far that more non-white groups are way more collective individuals.
So hold up. How much research did you do before this debate?
Good bit. Not before the debate.
Well, just overall, like, to get your opinions.
What do you mean?
Like, how much time have you spent researching immigration to get like your opinions?
A good little bit. I had a lot more stuff I could have talked about.
Well, no, that's what happens with an hour time minute. You know, there's still 3 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock. I would just like to point out.
Guy to say something about why should I care about culture or something, just remember culture is all about the way of life. Like ultimately everything matters with culture because culture is like how people live, right?
I still feel so bad. That dude did not speak.
Oh yeah, I don't know what his problem was because I wanted him to debate me. Like it was supposed to be a 1v1 with me and him. And then
Really?
Yeah. And
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so we were in Instagram DMs, and it was supposed to be a 1v1 between me and American Patriot. And then I guess he told his friend, and his friend wanted to turn it into a 2. So I just brought McCain along with me so I could like 2v1 the guy. He's like, I didn't fucking care.
The poor dude. I felt so bad.
I wanted to let him speak. Like I was like, American Patriot. Do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I mean, I tried to butt in, but I didn't want to like stop the debating. But I did one time. I wanted to do it again, but I didn't feel like it.
You did really good moderating. I hope those guys on TikTok concede that they lost. I wanted that.
Dude, I just was so nervous to just speak.
Oh, you're good, buddy.
It was actually kind of fun though. I like just hearing people argue constantly, you know, it's fun. All right, well, I'm going to end the live right now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Of course, buddy.
And we'll see you in the next debate. If there is.